LinkedIn is still coming in.
Yes, sir.
Of course. I'm excited.
Yes.
I am very excited, man.
Excited.
I'm here.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
ready,
let's
guys.
go.
Hyped.
Let's do it.
Let's go!
I am very excited
I was going to
About those
I'm
which
very
are low
excited.
and due in
after
2 days.
I almost jumped off the balcony because I got accepted in the fellowship. It's a bit weird because I'm a fresh woman and having such a fellowship is very hard, especially in my country. So I was actually very excited.
Amazing. 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 All right. So we're going to kick it off. It's at 1:15 my time in SF, 4:15 a lot of times across the world. We have a lot to share today. We are going to cover a breakdown of how Headstarter has come to being. We're going to cover what you guys are expected to do in the next 7 weeks. And then we're going to have a masterclass put together by Sajjad Kader. This Zoom is limited on purpose. So I did want this to be as intimate as possible. So there's like kind of like a first come, first serve. Want everyone in this Zoom to know you're not just an accepted fellow, but you showed up probably before time. Because I checked my Zoom 10 minutes before the call, 5 minutes before the call, and there were a couple hundred people that were just waiting. So people who show up early definitely reap a lot of benefits. So tap yourself in the back. There's a lot of, I think probably 3,000 or 4,000 people that want to join this call, but you are here because you showed up early or you showed up on time. I want to tell you a quick little background about Headstarter. So Headstarter's first inception into this world came from a 3-day seminar. In a matter of 3 days, we built a program where people would have 3 technical projects, build a resume from scratch, meet other software engineers, and do technical interview prep in a matter of 3 days. It was a seminar, and the first day was free, and the next 2 days was paid. That had an incredible response, and everyone asked us one thing: can we have more of this? Can we have 7 weeks of this? Precisely. So in 2021, I believe also on July 22nd, we launched our first fellowship. And it had, I believe, 63 or so people. And it was incredible. A lot of people loved it. We had live Zoom calls. And what we noticed and what we started with some intentions, and then when we left the fellowship, we had some intentions. We started the fellowship knowing that me and my friends have won over like 8 hackathons at that point. And we wanted more people to win hackathons. We wanted more people to work together with each other because learning alone sucks. You guys can like drop in the chat if you agree. Learning alone is just terrible. It's painstaking. It's sad. So we said, hey, we don't think we would have been here if we didn't have each other. What if there was a place where other people can find each other and also get some direction? Because, you know, sometimes actually when you get together with your friends, you're just chilling or talking, you're not doing anything productive. So what if there was a structure? And so that's when the fellowship happened. But then we recognize a new problem, which is you can give people connections. You can give people structure, but people never show up. People are always lazy or they miss deadlines. And so precisely we thought a lot about how we can curate a program that gives you that consistency, gives you follow-ups, and gives you teams. And so those 3 things together is what makes Headstarter Headstarter. We want to build the #1 community for emerging software engineers. And our mission is to find the future rainmakers, shot takers, tech leaders, give them #1 direction. #2, standardization. So they have you have some criteria. And then #3 is consistency. And then there's also transparency. So we want to be very transparent about what we do and how we do it. We'd also like the world to be more transparent with you. If I were to ask you guys one question, I know most of you guys would get wrong, which is and now people around here from around the world, so it's very different, which is most people do not know how much software engineers make. Most people do not know what it takes to become a software engineer. Most people do not know how many jobs exist and will be created in the future for software engineering. It's come to a point where nations are competing against each other. Like Sam Altman is going to meet every single technology leader, every single president of different countries. He has a tour. I think he's visiting like 70 to 80 countries, or he's already done it. Now, Imad Mustaq from Stability AI, former CEO of that, is doing it. They're going to these tech leaders, these nations, and telling them like, hey, we want to build large language. Want your nation to build large language moats. And for you to do that, you need a team of software engineers, you need a team of cracked, incredibly talented people who understand both communication, who understand collaboration, and of course, the engineering needs. So it's kind of like our idea for today and our idea for the next 7 weeks as to kind of level set. So I'm going to give you a checklist, a few things that we want to get done. And then I'm going to actually just stop and I'll let Sajjad kind of take the room. And then from there, we will send you an email with all the details that you need to know regarding the fellowship. Okay, so here's a few quick checklists that we need you to write down. The first thing is everyone here needs a team. Everyone needs a team. And by the end of this Friday. So if you don't have a team, you can forget about the fellowship. Like the fellowship is really not for everyone. We tried our best to find people who would hopefully work together and be, nice to work with each other, look forward to working with each other. But if you don't have a team, don't want to do the fellowship, feel free to leave. You don't have to be here. That's number one. And you have to get that done by this Friday. Number two is we will be giving people account access. So who are dropping the chat, who already has account access. So if you have access to our Hester account, you've checked it out, you just quickly drop in the chat. If you don't have account access, drop in the chat. Okay. All right, so folks who don't have account access is coming up little batches every time, every minute, I think, right? Every few minutes for the last few hours. So if you don't have access, it will be coming out soon. So the number one thing is you have to find teams. Number two is make sure you have access to the account. And when I say access to the account, there's no purpose if you have access to the account, you're not doing anything. When you go log in, you're going to see a bunch of deadlines, if those who have already logged in. And when you see those deadlines, proceed and do those assignments. I don't have to explain too much. You guys are CS majors. Personally, me as a person, whenever someone came up to me and told me, hey, I have a problem with my computer, can you fix it? Conflating between software engineering and IT. I am not IT, I'm a software engineer. And so as software engineers, you're also very intuitive. You pick things up really quickly. We don't have to explain too much. We try to make the platform as intuitive as possible. You'll understand kind of how the deadlines work. You'll understand that there's some things you have to submit. And so the number two responsibility you have to know for this fellowship, nothing's going to matter if you don't maintain the deadlines. There's a lot of people that did this fellowship in the last 2 or 3 years. The people that did well versus people who didn't do well have one thing in common. One is they show up, and two is they get it done by a certain period of time. So if you want to basically show up, and then, which is logging in, and then two, get it done, submitting some version of whatever the assignment, whatever it is, that is the most important thing you have to know. 20% of time gives you 20% of focus gives you 80% of results. The 20% of focus that you have to know today is for the 7 weeks is make sure you maintain your deadlines. So that's the number 2 checklist, right? You're going to have. And lastly, number 3, what is the core component about Headstarter is like, just identify your goal, right? Like, why the heck are you here? Like, do you really have to be here? Like, why exactly are you here? Are you struggling to get a job? Are you struggling to like, are you like lost? Like, exactly why are you here? Like, know that. And that is not enough. where are you going? If the answer is, I'm just trying to figure it out, I'm not too sure, like, change that answer to being, I'm sure I want to do this one thing. And have an open mindset where you can change what you eventually want to do. But a lot of people start the fellowship or whatever college with the idea that, oh, I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm just gonna take day by day. In these next 7 weeks, in this today, you don't want to go day by day. You want to be very definite about where you're headed. Every week, towards the end of the week, you're going to have a coaching call with an AI version of me. And I did this with hundreds of people. So I'm really good at what I do. And I want to scale this. I'm just going to ask you one question or a few questions. One is, where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years from now? Very specifically, you can say, oh, I want to be a senior software engineer at Google, or I want to be a senior software engineer at a startup, or I want to be an entrepreneur. And here's the type of team or type of skill set that gets me excited. Here's why it's important for me. These are some ways to give yourself some destination, something to look forward to. So it's very, very important, very, very, very important that you write, why you're here and where you're going. And we're going to ask you this over 7 weeks. And here's why it really matters. If you did this for 7 weeks, where you really thought about like where you're going, why you're here, and we have two follow-up questions after that in the coaching call. The follow-up question after that is going to be, what are you going to do what are you going to do this week? What are the top 3 priorities you're going to do this week? And in the follow-up coaching calls with the AI version with me, after we ask you, what are you going to do this week? We're going to ask you, what did you do last week? Right? And so we talk about your 3-year goal and your 5-year goal. And then we talk about how is your current week going to change? And how is okay, it's great, but how did your previous week look like? Right? And so we're going to do this over 7 weeks. And the idea is, if you do this right, hopefully ideally the next 7 years of your life, you're set, right? It gives you exposure, not just in skill set, but also purpose. It gives you team. And we want to create opportunities where you have a sense of like no one after today should ever code alone. No one after today should ever code alone. And I will just say this one thing. Yesterday, I was invited to go to someone's house. And I really thought to myself that, hey, I don't think I'm going to go. I just want to stay focused and, work on these fellowship, preparation. But I forced myself to kind of go there, right? I hated going there. I have literally no reason to go there, but I just did. I just showed up, right? And this guy opened up his phone next to me, and he's having an email thread with the CEO of NVIDIA. He owns a cybersecurity firm, and after the CrowdStrike thing that happened, like on Friday, now they're looking for alternative resources or ramping up their whatever security. And I lost my mind. I was like, holy crap! Like, this guy is talking to the CEO of NVIDIA. Like, what if the CEO of NVIDIA one day showed up to the headstretter for like a speaker talk or something? And it just happened like very like randomly, right? Because I just showed up. That's incredible draw of luck. What I'm trying to tell you here is like, everything is all about the people that that you have around you. A lot of people's context of who they know and what to do, like what data, what information, what to prioritize. Like, you only have that if you have people. So it's not just no one should ever code alone again, but more so, if you code together, if you build your career together, this resume thing and the recruiting thing, you know how to hack it, then you'll get there 10 times faster, and you also enjoy it much more. Because coding alone sucks. And if you think you're okay with it, you want to get there much faster, you want to get there in a much more enjoyable way, you can absolutely do it. And that is why we're doing this, right? Okay, we're done here. We'll have a separate time for questions, and I know a lot of people have questions. I want to just tell you guys a few names and a few people. Just for sake of time, we're not going to introduce them. So number one, people that to keep in mind is For the 3 tracks, we're gonna have individuals from those 3 tracks represent and perform, give you guys some ideas about what you can do to do well in those 3 tracks. For the first track, we have Sajjad Kader, who is also going to be continuing on the kickoff call today. Sajjad Kader is people here know Sajjad Kader? Drop in the chat if you know Sajjad Kader. Perfect. Awesome. So Sajjad Kader is going to teach everyone how to hack the algorithm, how to build your personal brand on TikTok and Instagram. He has built over 200K followers over the past 1 year by posting every single day. I believe the first 100 posts he did or something, he got like 10,000 followers. And after that, he cracked something big. I want him to teach you guys how to build your following. The way you get 1,000 users and make $1,000 revenue is not by you guys, each other going to each other's, websites. The way you get $1,000 or 1,000 users is by having your own distribution through TikTok, through social media. So Sajjad is going to teach you guys how to do that. And he's a software engineer, so he'll also give you guys tips on how to build your own personal software engineering brand. Number 2, the 2 important people, people who are doing project A as well, and kind of also goes into B. We're going to introduce you to Jack. Jack was a former tech lead at Google. He went to Princeton University. He's built over 20 projects. He just got he's in MIT right now, MIT Sloan. And he previously was a CTO of a company that raised about 19 million from A16Z. He is going to be teaching you guys a live masterclass on how to build incremental projects. So everyone here has projects that you have to ship on Friday. Every Tuesday, you're going to have a session where you can listen to Jack and you can hear about, how does he think? What's his philosophy? And more so, he'll be here to answer a lot of questions. And then number 3 person who's important you want to keep in mind is, how does the open source world work? So we're going to bring in Rashid, who sold his previous company for €500,000 and currently in the YC batch. He is also going to help you guys with understanding the open source world, understanding all those people who chose to do open source, what the requirement for that is going to look like. He'll be our partner for that. Regarding more information about track A, B, and C, we'll give you a very detailed Google Doc, which is going to, showcase exactly what is required for each track. In addition, we'll give you a Google Calendar with all the invites and plans of when you can meet the people. And you're going to have a link of all the recording videos that are done. So all video recording links will be there, but they'll all be there for until Sunday night. So Monday morning, all the previous week's recordings will be gone, and you'll start a fresh new week. So again, after this call, you're going to get more information regarding the different tracks. You'll get a Google Calendar invite, and you will get recordings for all the different things if you're not able to make it. Cool. With that being said, Sajjad, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey.
Amazing. All right. I want you to just quickly take things off and take it off with the first masterclass.
All right, cool. Let me share my screen. All right, y'all can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I can see it. Yeah, we can see.
Awesome. So hey guys, hope we all are doing well. Welcome to the first masterclass on selling your brand. Today I'm gonna kind of give like an overview, introduction, and kind of talk about things on a high level. And as we go through this like 7-week fellowship, and as I kind of understand where you guys are heading at, and you understand kind of like where I'm coming from, we'll get a little more specific as the weeks go by. So just a little background about myself in case you guys don't know. These are kind of like all like my platforms on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. I built an audience of like over like 350,000 over the last year or so. And pretty much my content is about like tech, college students, career, pretty much everything that you need to do in order to become a successful computer science or like software engineer. And so just kind of overall, what is a personal brand? What is your brand, and why is it important to have one? So I guess just kind of at a high level, a brand is basically what you represent, what you stand for, and what you, if you envision someone, if you think about someone, what kind of comes to life for that. Now, if you kind of like look at me and like based off like my content, everything that I put out, you kind of just, oh, he's a software engineer dude. And that sort of branding that is associated with you also comes with a sense of authority. Because now, like, whether I give a correct answer or not, you trust me for a software engineering advice because I've built sort of like a credibility of giving like software engineering advice. I give it every single day. I have past experiences from it. And now, like, you guys trust me, companies trust me, and even like this is how I got connected with Headstarter and these people, because I have that sort of trust and establishment within the software engineering industry. Now, why is it important to have one? Well, now we know in this day and age, getting people's attention is everything. You know, you like what Yasin was saying, you don't want to just in order to get like your first like 1,000 users or so, you want to have a personal brand, you want to have organic usage because nowadays we know Gen Z or even older people are all on social media. They're all over the place. And the more sort of touch points they have of all these like different platforms giving them this different thing, they'll start to trust you more. They'll start to be able to use your thing more. Like for example, right? Like if I wanted to start a business and I wanted like 1,000 customers or 1,000 beta testers, well, I could just reach out to 1,000 of my 350,000 followers and people would probably be down to try it out. And so similarly, there's just so much advantage to having a personal brand for like a business side as well as just personal connections wise. Throughout my experience this last year, I've been invited to tech conferences. I've been kind of like flown out to give different speeches to meet different people. And in fact, like just this Headstarter is such a great opportunity because I'm excited. I'm going to be meeting with you all from like all across the United States. And I'm excited to do that, like all these IRL events that we have planned out for the weekends and all like the networking that we're able to do. There's just so much to gain. And it all stems from a personal brand, that authority, that establishment, and kind of like the education that you give behind it. So how do you actually start building a personal brand? A lot of people know, like, okay, so I maybe want to post on social media, but I don't know what am I supposed to do. I have so many different diverse interests. Has anyone like faced that? Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like you have so many different things that you want to do, many different pursuits, right? And in fact, like I was the same exact way. I'm a person, I obviously like I'm a software engineer, but I love basketball. I love food. I love finance, business, all these like different things. But why I ultimately decided to sort of niche down to software engineering, to computer science, well, this is kind of what I did a lot of introspection on, and it kind of boils down to these three things. These three things, career, experiences, or passionate reporter, is how you can identify your own personal brand. So one, career. Well, obviously, like I'm a software engineer, and because of that, I have just every single day, there's some sort of experience that I can derive like from and give a lesson about. Oh. Whether that be like in meetings, whether that be some code I pushed, whether that be a mistake I made. I just have day in, day out, every day a 9 to 5 job, or even me like interviewing, trying to get into this career. There's just so many lessons that I have to pull from that I can provide people examples with. Experiences. You all know like those journeys of like, here's my 100-pound weight loss journey, or here's my road to $100,000 every single month journey. Like every time you have these experiences and things that you can maybe share with people, or maybe did you like move around growing up, or maybe did you try this project, or maybe did you have a unique experience one summer that you want to build and like talk more upon. So these are some things that you can think about. Passionate reporter. So this is where, you know, like a lot of those like sports analysts, how do they actually have credibility to talk about what they're talking about? How do they have a personal brand? Like, for example, like Stephen A. Smith or Shannon Sharp. We all know these people. They actually like, they aren't basketball players themselves, but they're super passionate about the game of basketball. So much so that they've decided to literally obsess over and study the game to provide people with insights and different kind of information about it. And hence, and now anytime anyone thinks about Stephen A. Smith or Shannon Sharp or these sports analysts, they directly think about, oh, basketball, oh, he likes this or he likes that. And this is kind of like the stemming point from it. In fact, like the other day, I was talking to one of my friends. He's a software engineer. He's financially responsible. He's doing pretty well for himself. He's also really passionate about like the language Arabic. He spent some years in Palestine kind of growing up, and he turns out he's a big Arabic grammar nut. And in fact, he's planning on starting his page about just teaching people Arabic from a very simple standpoint. Now, so I guess to kind of summarize this all up, what you need to do is gravitate towards kind of like two things. One, what do people tend to ask you about naturally? In fact, before I started making my content, a lot of people would just generally ask me, hey, bro, how did you land this job? Or, hey, bro, can you review my resume? Hey, can you do like a mock interview with me? And I was like, okay, well, I could. And then I was helping people out, but then I was like, okay, maybe if I film this, put it on the internet, I can help even more people out. And that's really kind of how it started. The second thing is you need to actually be passionate about whatever you speak about. Because at the end of the day, this sort of like social media grind thing, even your first 1,000 followers is going to be a grind. I mean, unless you like pay and buy followers or something like that, like you are going to be grinding day in, day out in order to get to even a certain point. Like, for example, right now, like you all see, like I have a lot of followers, but I've made nearly like 600 to 700 posts on social media. And so much so that the first 200 posts that I made, I had literally like no growth. Maybe like a couple like maybe just like around 1,000 followers. But then my 200 first post, like after 200 posts, I made a post and it hit 10,000 followers. That was my first viral post. And so it takes a lot of reps in order to get it out there. But the thing is, I was really passionate about, first of all, the content I was talking about, as well as passionate about helping people. And so what is sort of like your mission? What is the thing that you want to sort of do? Because once again, like this whole like content sphere, you're providing free value to people. You're establishing your authority this way. And so you can't have any expectation in return. You just have to keep providing. And it's really, really hard to do that day in, day out if you aren't passionate towards what you're talking about, as well as helping people. All right. So these are sort of the different platforms I've kind of delved with and a little about my journey. So we have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. A lot of people don't know, but I actually started out my sort of like journey on like the internet on YouTube. I used to post there pretty much 3 times a week from September 2020. It was during the heights of the pandemic. I started posting up until like June of 2021 because I kept posting, but I wasn't really getting any growth. I wasn't really good at it. It was kind of tough. And then last year, I actually decided to post on short form. Now, the thing is, if you do plan to start a personal brand, my biggest recommendation is start on short form. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. And the reason that it's so much easier to grow on these platforms compared to the other one is, for example, first of all, I think like people just naturally go on like those social media platforms a little more than they consume long form content. But also, there's like the For You page feature, which literally like hits your content with everyone. So the onus on you is to just make a good video rather than packaging it well with like thumbnails and titles and being worried about competing with other people. So the easiest way to start is Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And then later on or YouTube Shorts, and then later on as you sort of build an audience and you're more established with the short form content, then I'd recommend transitioning into long form YouTube videos. Then you can transition into making those videos into text and posting them on LinkedIn, then condensing them down, posting it on Twitter. Honestly, I'm still kind of not sure about the whole Twitter platform, but it is a valuable thing if you do understand that algorithm well. It's just that's not like really my forte there. And so just keep posting day in, day out. In fact, I from like June last year up until like I think November, I was posting between 1 to 4 times every single day, because you sort of just need to get the reps in order to excel. Uh, and it's gonna suck at first because you're gonna make hundreds of posts and literally like no one's gonna like it. In fact, you might like it from your account and then you'll ask your friends to like it, and like that's about all the traction you'll get. But just keep posting at it because eventually you will get better at making videos. Eventually, people will follow you for the videos that you make. In fact, like the time that I made my 201st video, my first viral video, the reason that I got so many followers wasn't necessarily that that video was so good, but rather because I had a track record of making 200 computer science related videos, such that people were like, oh, dang, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. Oh, dang, maybe like this video was good. Maybe his other videos will be good. Let me follow him. I'm going to check out his page. And so you need to have those consistencies, those reps. And anytime that you make a video that doesn't work well or doesn't do something, try to learn from it rather than being demotivated by it. And I'm saying all this because it will happen. Like your first like 100 videos will flop. I mean, if you do it, if you get viral earlier than that, congrats to you. But you just don't have any expectations. Just keep putting. In fact, if you do multiple times a day,